If you truly want to change anything about yourself, then you got to check your core beliefs. Like if you want to change something physically, mentally, emotionally, or spiritually, then you got to check your core beliefs. If you want to address your mental health symptoms, try to achieve a goal, strive for your potential, then you got to check your core beliefs. Core beliefs are powerful. If people fully understood how powerful they were, they would hit pause and they would reflect, and then they would work to replace those things. People oftentimes will call me for an initial consultation regarding services, and in that initial conversation, they'll usually identify a presenting problem, something they're struggling with, whatever it is that's brought them to treatment. And they'll ask me, like, is this something that you believe that I can heal from, that I can overcome? This depression, this anxiety, this trauma, these mental health symptoms. They'll ask me, like, is this something that you believe that I can heal from and address and overcome? And I'll usually put that back on them and ask them, like, is this something that you believe that you can heal from, overcome, and address? And if the answer is no, then that's the first place that we have to start, with that belief that you can't. Because you can't go into treatment or any goal with that mindset. Because those who believe they can and those who believe they can't are both usually right. You have to believe in your capacity to heal, to grow, to address them. If given the right tools and the right action plan and the right support, you have to believe that you can do it. You have to be very careful. I am helpless. I am hopeless. I am powerless. I am unlovable. I am unattractive. I am unmotivated. I am sick. I am unworthy. Whatever you put after I am is a reflection of your core belief. Those things were usually pushed on you. You inherited them. They were imprinted on you in early childhood development. They're not who you actually are, but they have unconsciously become a part of your identity, and you carry them with you into adulthood. And usually people have an eye-opening moment where they realize it. They have an epiphany that those negative core beliefs are not beneficial. They're not helping them. They're hindering their ability to move forward and grow. And so then they'll go to try to replace those negative core beliefs with the opposite. And they'll take something like, I am selfish, and they'll replace it with, I am selfless. And they'll repeat that phrase over and over. I am selfless, I am selfless, I am selfless, like a mantra, thinking that if they practice that affirmation enough, that it will replace the negative core belief and help them with their thoughts and their emotions. But what they find is that it doesn't work. Some part of you knows that the new core belief that you're trying to instill is bullshit. It's a delusion. There's no evidence to support it. You see, this thing, it has different parts that have different roles. The prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, the brainstem, the corpus callosum, the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. It has all these different parts, and there's another part of it called the bullshit detector or the bullshit meter. And when you replace a negative core belief with the opposite, and there's no evidence to support it, it calls bullshit. And you can't bullshit a bullshitter. So some part of you knows, like, it's just not true. I can't tell myself I'm selfless if I'm not engaging in selfless acts of service. If I'm not ever putting anyone first, then when I tell myself I'm selfless, I know it's not true. So it doesn't change my thoughts or my feelings regarding myself. You can't identify a negative core belief of I am lazy, I am unmotivated, I am out of shape, and then try to replace it with a different belief system of I am an athlete. You can't tell yourself you could tell yourself you're an athlete all day long, but if you keep binge watching and you keep scrolling and you're not meal prepping and you're not engaging in athletic endeavors, if you're not doing what athletes do, then when you tell yourself I'm an athlete, some part of you knows, like, that's bullshit. It's not true. So first you have to understand exactly how powerful beliefs are. Then you have to identify your negative core belief and you have to replace it with the opposite. But simultaneously, you have to check in with your behaviors and say, are my behaviors in line with the new belief system? If the negative core belief is I am unworthy, and you want to replace it with I am worthy, then you have to engage in worthwhile activities. You have to ask yourself, what do I have to do in order to feel worthwhile? If your negative core belief is I am powerless, and you want to replace that with I am empowered, then you have to ask yourself, like, what behaviors and activities and skills do I have to acquire in order to feel empowered, to no longer be in a victim mentality? I have to make sure that my behaviors are in line so that there's evidence to support it, so that it's no longer delusional. Trevor Smith says it's only delusional until it becomes true, until it happens. Now it's no longer a delusion anymore. Now it's a reality. Now when I tell myself the core belief, the new core belief, I know it's true because I'm engaging in activities every single day to make it true. So you can't replace the negative core belief unless you also work on your behaviors. You can't just think your way into a new way of feeling and behaving. Sometimes you have to behave your way into a new way of feeling, a new way of thinking, and a new set of core beliefs. Then the new core belief becomes true. So reflect on your negative core beliefs, replace them with the opposite, and then make sure that your behaviors are in line. Timber approves this message.